Well, hello, this is Christopher James with All Things Branson, and today we get to talk with Barry Williams out here. Hello, sir.
Nice to be here, thank you.
Yes, it's so good to finally get to talk with you. I got to work with you very, very briefly a couple years ago.
Barry Branson.
No, for the Celebrity Wife Swap.
Wife Swap.
Yeah, got to come out and see you and your son and record that.
And teach him a little magic.
We did.
Yeah, it was
we
fun.
did. That was quite a hectic day, though.
He loves it. He loves doing magic too. He does. He continues to do it to this day.
You know what I told him is that I remember when you came to the show way, way back on the showboat, and you actually came out and you got a magic kit.
Yes,
I think for him. So that was kind of cool.
I gave it to him as a birthday gift.
Oh, yeah. That's neat. That's neat. So a couple quick questions for you. Of course, you're best known for Mega Piranha.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
You were
Bigfoot. One Mega Piranha. These are
so many questions.
These
about
are
Mega Piranha.
These are not these piranha. These are not like big piranha or huge or like gargantuan. They are mega.
Yeah,
mega piranha.
We don't hold back at all here in Branson.
No.
So, but that's what you're most popular for. Yep. That and the Cooking Wars, or what was it? You were on the cooking.
Yeah, the cooking channel.
Uh-huh.
That's true. The cook-off, Worst Cooks in America, Celebrity Edition.
You must have been proud.
I'm very proud. You know, not everybody can get that job.
Well,
you know, you have to have certain qualifications to be a worst cook in America.
Well, you haven't been to some of the restaurants around here, though. But you do a lot of reality shows.
Are you naming names?
Well, not yet. We'll do that. We'll do that during the commercial.
Right.
No, actually. But you do a lot of the reality shows now, and
I've done lots of television, and of course, Mega Piranha is my proudest reality show for sci-fi.
Because I laughed the entire time. It was great.
That's the idea. It's actually a two boxes of popcorn movie.
Yeah. You know, I love those sci-fi movies, though. I think they're hilarious.
They're fun. That's what they're about. What they're about. A little over the top. Reality shows are great to do. You know, it's difficult to squeeze in more television shows or pictures carrying the schedule that we carry here in Branson between March and December and doing shows every week, or in your case every day, or in your case sometimes more than one a day.
Yeah, we do 12 a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's...
Yeah, I didn't know this was going to become a job.
So is that how you make the big bucks?
Well, you know, when I was younger, I said I want to make a ridiculous amount of money when I grow up, and I should have been a lot more specific.
Oh, I see.
No, but Branson's great. I mean, you've been here for quite a while.
I'm in
now.
my sixth season.
Sixth.
I'm my sixth season here, and I love it more every day. I am as excited now to get on stage as the first day I did.
Because every day is different here. It really is.
They really are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the quality of life is good. I spent yesterday on a golf course, what is now known as Branson Hills. Mm-hmm. Used to be the Payne Stewart golf course. Absolutely beautiful. My first time there, and you know, who would know? Who would know that these little places are socked away to be enjoyed?
Well, people don't realize that, because I used to do a little speech in our show about all of the golf courses we have and all the fishing that's here, and people have this image of Branson. What was your image? What was your perception of Branson before you moved here?
Country music, live country music capital, small little town, middle America. And a place where, with a really healthy entertainment kind of community, and where a lot of musicians thrived. And I wanted to be part of that community. And I came here a few times to kind of check things out, see if it would be a good fit for me, because I knew it would be a big change for me coming from Los Angeles. And it is a big change, but I really like it.
Yeah, I like it a lot, and to be able to attract a star from Mega Piranha.
Yes, that's again, Branson is very fortunate in that respect.
We know. We appreciate it every day. But what's your biggest surprise about being here in Branson? Because I'm like you. Before I moved here, I didn't know much about it. They actually called, and I did the same thing. Came out and checked it out. And I assumed that it was country music. And I actually showed up dressed kind of country-ish with a country act.
Trying to fit in
But
right
I
away?
wanted to fit in.
Or you're good.
Because I was moving from New York. You moved here from L.A.
Oh,
and
there's
so-
nothing like a New York cowboy, I tell you what.
New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my biggest surprise was the families that were here in the summertime.
In what respect?
In that I assumed that we had an older audience all year long.
Oh.
And then in the summer, and that's how I geared my show the first year, 11 years ago. And then in the summertime, we had mostly kids.
Right.
Young kids at the show.
Right,
And
I'm glad to see kind of the demographic shift a little bit. The seasons are longer now. I think the seasons themselves have changed. There's a spring and a fall that we didn't used to have
Right.
15 years ago, and there are a lot more families. My show is skewed a little younger than what I had heard was a typical Branson audience. Now, the first show I saw here was Andy Williams,
Right.
and he had, definitely out the retirement community. As although I was a huge fan too, but my show is really geared more toward families and boomers and that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, my first show was the Presley show.
Oh.
The very first day I got here.
There you go.
Have you seen it?
A few times.
Yeah. That was the very first show I saw, and I thought, what am I doing? I don't do that type of...
It's very patriotic.
It's very patriotic, a lot of gospel music in
Right,
there. And it's a
right.
great show. I
Yes,
love
it
it.
is.
But
Yes, it
it
is.
wasn't what I was doing in the slightest.
Right, probably not doing a great deal of that in Greenwich Village.
No, not so much. Not so much. But that's the nice thing about Branson is that now I go to shows, for example, the Bald Knobbers show. Not something that I thought I would enjoy, that type of music. But you go and they know what they're doing. The nice thing about Branson is it's very natural selective in that only the good shows survive. And,
No kidding.
yeah. And
I mean, there's a reason for that. It's
Right.
the budgets are high. You need to attract people, and by doing it every day, you can begin to hone and develop the show. You take the thing; it's so obvious what doesn't work because audiences will tell you, and so you start, just kind of cutting that off in a way, and keep replacing it with what does work.
Yeah.
So there is a natural selection, and a lot of people come here and think that they can set up put their name out on the shingle and people will come. That's not the case.
Yeah.
And if your show isn't strong, if it's not entertaining, if people don't really respond to it well, word gets out.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I've heard of some big entertainers, Willie Nelson, Wayne Newton, that just couldn't. It didn't work out.
They're
well.
not a fit. It's just not a fit for them. And Branson is not a fit for everybody.
Right.
But for those that it is, it's a wonderful place to be and live. But I think some of the names that have come through, I think Wayne Newton's probably another example. They want to bend the community more around their lifestyle than they are willing to assimilate into the Ozark lifestyle.
And I had that the first year. I was
Did
like,
you?
this worked for me for 10 years. It's going to work in Branson. It didn't work. It didn't
So
work.
do some growing. So you asked me what my biggest surprise was here. It's the diversity of things to do. I thought it was essentially the Strip with theaters, and that was it. And when I got here, I discovered how many activities there are, and all the things that I love to do, and all the things I went on vacation for. The Silver Dollar City, and the amusement park, the hiking. I love to ride, but I haven't ridden since I was in my teens.
Right.
And now I have friends with horses. Todd Oliver is a friend of mine, and you may know him from both the boat or here at the
Yeah, we worked
Americana.
together for 5 years.
Oh,
yeah.
did you?
Yeah.
And he has horses, and he likes to have them ridden. So that works out really well. My son, who's now 13, Brandon, has become really a passionate fisherman. So he's up 5:30, 6 o'clock, and on Table Rock Lake. But
wow.
he fishes both Table Rock and Taneycomo, and then of course all the fun things that you would have in a resort community, the go karts and the zip lines.
That's all relatively new, though. I think the zip lines and everything.
The zip lines are, but I came, as I say, 6 years ago, and some of those have been added, but many of them have been here since I've been, enjoying life.
Right. Yeah. And we have quite a few of them. I mean,
Yes.
there's a lot to. In fact, that's one thing we're doing with our television shows. We're taking teenagers, maybe when your son's in town here, and showing them everything that younger people can do in Branson.
Cool,
So
cool.
we're renting the little scooters. Have you seen the little red scooters that go around town? The little cars, the scoot coops. they're
Yes,
called.
yes, but not for teenagers, are they?
No, but they can ride with an adult. So we're
Right.
taking a father
The
and
high,
son.
high flag on
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah. We did a whole day driving around in those, and it happened to be like 104 degrees that day. We got so sunburned; it was terrible. Just
See,
terrible.
he likes the segways. And those are fun for him, but I wouldn't want to cut him loose in the little red cars on the street.
Yeah, it's incredibly dangerous.
Don't you think? A little bit.
Yes, like out around the lake. I took somebody for a ride, and they're like, "What are we doing? There's no guardrails out here. There's no
Right.
We were going 50 miles an hour.
You make a good point. What couldn't we build some curbs on some of these roads? At least, just some of them, a little curb, a little guardrail, maybe.
Yeah. That was my biggest surprise is because moving here, it's pretty hilly where I was in upstate New York in the Catskills there. And so we, move here and I'm driving out around the lake out by the showboat and there's no guardrails. There's
Anywhere,
nothing. Nothing.
and they fall off. I mean, you can drop down a couple hundred feet.
Yeah. So be careful. That's our public
Especially
service.
especially in the winter.
Yes, exactly. So I want to talk about your childhood a little bit because I've read something and I need to know if this is true. Your neighbor was Peter Graves?
Yeah.
Really? He has the most haunting voice. Wasn't he doing those unsolved mysteries or something?
No, gosh,
Who-
no.
what
not
did
that,
he
no.
do?
We were in the 50s, right? That's when he was next door. But we should probably explain a little bit about Peter Graves.
Yeah.
Because most people know him as the silver-haired Mr. Phelps
Right.
from Mission Impossible. My favorite show, by the way. And his daughter's my age, and we went to nursery school together, preschool. And he was doing a very different series called Fury. And Fury was the story of a rancher, and a horseman, kind of a cowboy, modern day cowboy, who took on, I guess, a relative, maybe it was a nephew or someone from New York, a city kid, and basically adopted him. I guess somehow he lost his parents, and he went to live with Peter Graves on his ranch, which is where I first began to really, really like horses.
Right.
And I watched him on Saturday morning doing this television series. That's when his show aired. And then I got to meet him when I went over for a play date with his daughter. And I wanted to be an actor. I was inspired to be an actor. So I asked him, I said, Mr. Graves, how did you get to be an actor? And he kind of laughed and looked down and said, well, I just thought about it.
Really?
So
that easy.
I went home and thought. And thought. My parents wanted nothing to do with it, but I kept thinking, and it kind of didn't go anywhere until later. And then when I turned 11, I kind of marched into the kitchen and told my mother that she was standing in the way of my destiny.
Really?
Yes. And
Really appreciated that.
and she didn't believe me, but I was very, very serious about it. And so that inspiration, that original inspiration, had stayed with me all those years. And at that point, I went and started studying acting and went to classes and went to private classes and group classes with people like Jodie Foster and sort of the actors of the day, and got an agent, and that's how I began working in television.
Wow. How did you get an agent at that age? I mean, had you appeared on any? I know you did Dragnet, right, when you were little.
But I had to have an agent to do that, too. So what happened after about 6-8 months of going every week and sometimes twice a week and working with this coach, she recommended an agent and somebody that I could set up an appointment with. And I went in and met with this agency and the owner of the agent and read scripts that I had prepared and some that I had not. And, it's kind of a bit of a gamble, a crapshoot with these things because you don't know if it's how well you're doing the reading or if maybe they just need somebody with brown hair and blue eyes in the stable. But in all cases, it worked out fine. And this agent started sending me out to Universal and to Warner Brothers and to Paramount Studios and to audition. And I started winning job after job after job. And I was actually quite busy for the first 3-4 years before the Brady Bunch.
Did you go back and rub it in your mother's face then and say, "See, you were holding me back."
No, because she was very supportive. She just she didn't realize that I was that serious about it, and especially my father didn't. And remember, it was a big commitment for her too, because I had to have pictures and I had to go on these meetings and go on callbacks, and then I had to have a guardian on the set when I was working and take my schoolwork and that kind of thing, because it's a professional world. But there is a bookend to this story. I had just gotten the Brady Bunch, and it had been picked up for a first season. That's 1969, and I went on an audition for a guest starring role on Mission Impossible.
Oh, wow.
And I played a young king, or the role was a young king who, and the mission was about proving that the uncle that I thought was loyal to me was really going to assassinate me so he could take over the kingdom. And so the mission was to prove that to me. And so I got to work on my favorite show with the man who inspired my career on Mission Impossible just before I started filming on the Brady Bunch.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah. And there was a downside to it, too, because at one point in the episode, my character is trying to escape from the bad guys, and in order to escape, because I was a king and I was so well known, I had to dress up as a young girl named Perla. And that was pretty much when my dad gave up on the whole show business idea altogether for good.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Well, he wouldn't like Branson, because every show has a guy dressing up.
Well, that's very true. That's another surprise that came. It was wow, there's a lot of drag here. A lot of drag.
There's a lot of that. Talk about dragnet.
There you go.
No, but it is a little weird, I think, that I don't do that in the show. So
you're giving that's not part of the match.
Not yet.
Well, you transform into a woman or something?
No, not yet. Not yet. No, I haven't reached that. It's
coming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, a few more years here in Branson. So, but that's neat. So you end up on the Brady Bunch, of course, and of course that's your big. I guess your.
Well, it's close to my Mega Piranha profile.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, not quite as big as Mega Piranha.
Well,
but I saw something in the lobby. You guys, I didn't know you had a cartoon. For the show too.
The Bradys have been everything. I mean, a sitcom, a animated cartoon show.
Did you do the voices for that?
Yes, but here's something interesting. The company that did the Brady Kids, it was called the Brady Kids. They didn't have a big budget. They also produced the Archies, the comic book Archies, animated Archies, and they had stopped doing that, but they had all of the pictures. And so what they did to save money, when they took over the Brady Kids, they put the Brady Kid faces and heads on the Archie characters.
Oh, nice.
Which is why we're dressed the way we're dressed, and we move the way that we move. And so that was... but we did do the voices.
That's cool.
We did.
That's
do the
very
voices.
similar to. There's a couple shows here in town that changed their cast quite a bit, and I was looking at some of their posters, and you can clearly tell they just put the new heads.
Right.
Budget thing.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But you did that, and of course, you guys were singing for a while and toured a little bit.
The
right?
Variety Hour. Oh, right. We did. We recorded albums, so we were a singing group, and we did concerts around the country. We had a Variety Hour. That was. Don't tell me you missed that.
Oh, well, unfortunately.
Oh, no. Gosh. Well, I'll have to get you a couple DVDs. I used some of that footage in my show because we wore these jumpsuits that were like super, super tight and sparkly. And then
again, setting up Branson again.
I point out there's nothing has changed. And same old. So we were the Variety Hour. That was a hoot. But we had great guest stars like Donnie Marie. We had Rich Little. We had Milton Berle. We had Farrah Fawcett. We had Tina Turner.
Oh, wow.
We had Rip Taylor. All kinds of great guests that were on. And then, so we had a good time doing that. And then the Variety Hour. Then we went. Then we did a Very Brady Christmas. We all had a very Brady Christmas.
You guys really milked this, didn't you?
Yeah, totally. It was like once I got into the Brady Bunch, I pretty much became Greg.
Right.
And then we had the Very Brady Christmas. Then in the '80s, we were all grown up, so we had a new series. And just check out these titles. We had the Brady Bunch, then we had the Brady Kids, and then we had the Brady Girls Get Married, and then the Brady Brides.
Oh, I saw that.
Then
I remember seeing that when I was
a Very Brady Christmas. And then in the 80s, we were grown up, and they were really stuck for the title of the series. So they called it the Brady's.
Oh, genius.
Yes, yeah, there was no end to the creativity and the imagination of the production team. That was the 80s. Then we thought it was all gone away, but then the 90s happened.
Right.
And so then we had Brady Bunch the movie, followed by the Brady Bunch the sequel.
Oh, I saw those. I have a funny story about the Brady Bunch because I didn't want to talk about it too much. But when I was younger, my sisters were obsessed with the show, right? And so this would have been in the mid 80s or so. And every day when I came home from my little paper route, they had it on. And as soon as I heard it, I'm like, oh, I want to watch
anything
I
else.
want to watch anything else. Right?
Anything, right.
They love that, and they love the Monkees, right?
Hey,
they were both on
we're the Monkees.
Nickelodeon at the time.
Cool.
And I'm like, seriously, guys, come on, like anything else. So then when the movie came out, somehow they tricked me into going to it. And
Well, they
I
told
thought
you it was Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got there, and then
But I thought it was really good.
The first one was quite good.
Yeah,
The first one was
I was very. Did you appear in the
I did.
first one? Yeah, and I thought that
I played the guy. I played the producer, the record producer, and Greg Brady wanted to get his new single "Clowns Never Laughed Before" recorded, and I told him to go fishing.
Go fishing, which is now what your son does.
Right,
so,
right, exactly.
Well, there's all these premonitions back then of what was going to
Clowns
happen.
never laughed before. Starships never.
I remember
flew.
that. I remember that.
Ponies never ran before till I met you.
So you're going to make it a hit now. So.
I'm thinking about putting it in the show, but dressing it up and making it a rap.
You could, and dress as a woman.
Yes.
That used to be a king.
Right, yes.
And now a queen.
Yes.
So there you go. But no, I remember all that. I remember the movies. And even now on your Facebook page and stuff, I see where you have the reunions that come up all the time. And they seem
Sometimes.
insanely popular.
Right. We have like Brady Bunch weekend, and they go these kind of like Comic-Con things where you go and people come and share their memorabilia and their stories of
And
the
they know
Brady
everything
Bunch.
about it, don't they?
More than I do.
Yeah, it's
and I wrote the book.
Yeah.
I wrote the Growing
Like
Up Brady.
literally.
Wrote the book. Mm-hmm. Did you not know? Best-selling New York Times best-selling author.
Yes, of course I knew that. Yeah.
I
Well, it
also-
got mixed in with the cartoon. And
I also
Megaprod.
made Growing Up Brady. I produced it as a 2-hour movie for NBC in 2001, and that's the last sort of Brady thing that's been on TV.
on television. Oh, it'll come back. I'm sure. They need to have like another series. Like
I don't think so. I think we've done it. No, I think we've done
You're
it.
over it.
Well, and Robert Reed is no longer with us.
Oh, true. Now, do you remain close with the rest of the cast?
Yes, all of them. In fact, I
that's cool.
speak and see all of them, and most are in California. Eve Plum is in New York. I'm here in Branson, and the youngest, Bobby Michael Lookenland, is in Utah. Everybody else is in California, but we speak pretty often.
That's cool. Yeah.
There's this new thing that's come out that's made communication like really quite a bit more convenient. Cell phone.
Cell phones.
There is a cell phone. It's a device, and some of us older folks are catching on to it.
That's cool.
And you can both speak audibly, and you can actually, they call it text message. And
But isn't that weird? I thought we invented phones so we didn't have to write to each other.
Yes,
And so now we write to each other on our
this is
phones.
technology, though. Now it's all backwards.
Yeah. Well, that kind of segues into something I wanted to ask you, because you grew up during an interesting time where there were all these family shows on. I think around that time you probably had the Partridge Family on and the Monkees were on and all these things. It's changed so much now. Now we don't have a lot of scripted TV. We have the reality shows that we were talking about. Plus, the internet has changed entertainment so much, where you worked really hard to get your acting, get your agent, and get off the ground, where now everyone seems to be an actor. You just post a video online that's 40 seconds, and you think you're an actor. And so...
Yeah, we'll see how that works out for these people.
I know, you don't make money at it, because
No, you
I've
don't.
tried.
Yeah, I
I've
know.
tried.
You really don't make a lot of money, and you are the flavor of the week. Just ask The Bachelor.
Yeah, that's my complaint about reality shows, because they've come to Branson and they recruit people for America's Got Talent. And we talk about this a lot. I interview a lot of the people that have been on these shows, The Voice, America's Got Talent. You're basically giving the producers free talent, because you're going on there and those shows are a commercial now for the end product.
No question about it.
Yeah, the entire thing is people pay to vote. They get commercial money for this. And all the producers are doing is is setting you up to buy the album that comes out at the end. It's basically a 13-week commercial.
And they are the ones who own it, lock, stock, and barrel. And talk to people from Idol, from American Idol. They have no life, and they're owned completely. And when they go out on tour, and if they're selling out, the producers of the television show are the ones that are making the money, not the artist.
And they get first dibs. Like, if they tell you they have a gig for you, you pretty much have to go and do it. You have to.
Yeah.
And so I've been approached a few times, and I say, no thanks. I have a job already.
Right.
And you look at the contract, and it's just so restrictive. But I think the day and age of these reality shows like that is going. Because I just saw where American Idol, this is the last season, where they just wrapped it up. And so I think a lot of those are going away. And
I frankly hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I really do. But there are some great scripted television series now. I'm following House of Cards.
Oh yes, I'm obsessed with that show.
I love that show. Better Call Saul.
Oh yeah.
Now there are others that I keep hearing about, but I don't have HBO. So like Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
I understand is wonderful.
Castle stuff
and Scandal. There's some terrific shows that are on and scripted, and I'm much more comfortable with those.
Yeah, me too. But here's the interesting thing about those that I point out, because in my show I do a lot of jokes about people on the internet now, and I say as a variety performer, I have to keep my bits down to 45 to 90 seconds.
Yes.
Or else I lose the attention span. And so I do a
I'm
whole
sorry,
bit.
did you say something?
What? Yeah, exactly. So you need to come see the show, because I do a bit where I watch for somebody on their phone, and then I do an entire bit destroying that phone.
Perfect.
For the show. And the entire time I say, now we sit when we're out to eat on our phones, and you're with your kids, and what are you telling them? There's something somewhere, I don't know what, that's more important than a conversation with you right now. And I think that's terrible.
Everybody looks down. Nobody looks up.
No. And with those shows you're mentioning, because Better Call Saul is one of my favorites, and House of Cards, we can't get enough of that. I think it's brilliant.
So many layers. On so many layers.
Yeah, it's just such good writing. And Kevin Spacey, come on, he's good in everything.
And there is great writing, but they don't have to use much imagination for their plot lines,
right?
Because they take them right out of the
Especially
headlines.
Now, especially now. But here's the thing about those shows: is those are all shows that come out in bulk for the most part.
Love it,
and
love it.
Yeah, you like to do that? You
binge.
You binge watch them?
Absolutely.
We do
Give
too.
me a Sunday. Give me a Sunday when especially if it's rainy, because otherwise I'm out on the lake. But a Sunday I can start and just like work it in. Grab a couple, then lunch.
Right.
Grab
That's
a
what we
couple
do.
more, take a little walk, come back, and then for dessert, episode 5.
Yeah, this is how lazy we are. We love Walking Dead. We're obsessed with zombies and vampires in our family. We dress up as zombies and go around town on the hike. So you see my little 4-year-old twins dressed as zombies walking around.
You have to help me with this because I've stayed away from it because of the genre. But the people that are devotees of The Walking Dead say it's no, it's not that, it's really the story, it's really about the people, and it's about the struggle and all of that, and they got some kind of grounding on this that I don't quite understand. Is that true?
It is true, because the play on words is The Walking Dead doesn't refer to the zombies. It refers to the people that are just walking around. Ain't the live people that are walking around, and what are we going to do?
Yeah, I see.
Like, what are we going to do? We're just trying to get through the day.
Because
They're the walking dead.
The ones that are dead,
yeah,
the ones that really are dead, they know exactly what they want to do, and they want to eat you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We took my kid's little Tykes car, the little orange and yellow one, and camouflaged it and put biohazard symbols all over it, and dressed them up as zombie hunters with little Nerf crossbows. And then my wife and I were zombies pulling the kids with chains on, like we were there.
I hope I don't run into you on a trail. It would scare the heck out of me. How old are the kids?
4. They're twins.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but we love that stuff. But we do the same thing. What I was going to say is we're so lazy now. We don't even watch it when it's on TV. We wait until the whole series comes out as a block, and then we get it on Amazon, and we can just spend a Sunday and watch all of them.
Boy, start and stop. I love that. Because you can't do this in the movies, right?
No.
But you can in your living room. People in the movie theaters try to do this, but really the only appropriate way to do it is in your living room when you don't quite get something fully, or you want to share a thought about it. bang, pause.
Right. And I'm on the internet the whole time, speaking of phones, because I'm looking up all the trivia about
fun.
the movies and
Right,
stuff.
yeah.
But you like to travel. You like to do things.
Yep.
For example, something strange happened. This year, I had to go to Disney World.
What, you want me to feel sorry for you?
No.
You had to go?
You will. They called me. I was on a cruise ship, which, by the way, I've got to meet Florence on
nice.
the cruise ships and stuff. She does a lot with the cruise ship. She's huge.
She
performing.
loves to sail. She loves to be out on the water. She, she had a 130-foot yacht in Marina Del Rey until she lost her husband, and so it was just too much at that point. But she loves to go on the cruises.
Yeah, I love it when she's there. I mean, people go crazy for
I'm
her.
doing a cruise next year.
Oh, you are?
In March of 2017. I'm hosting it, and it's all it's called Rock and Romance, and it's like a collection of 70s artists like Peter Frampton and players from Yellow, and who else is going to be there? We have Peter Frampton, and we have gosh. You know what? We're going to have to edit it in because there's so many. There's Christopher Cross is going to be there. Chuck Negron from Three Dog Night. A bunch of really artists that I grew up with.
So is it like
and
1
loved.
week? Or
yeah,
is it
we're going to do
extended?
a week, and we go to Mexico and then to Key West and back to Florida. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Did you ever do the Love Boat show, by the way?
Never did.
Oh,
Never
because
did.
I was just on the Regal Princess, and the entire cast had been on there filming, and because that's the new flagship for Princess.
Princess Cruises.
And so everything was Love Boat.
Right.
And I just remember that time with Love Boat and Fantasy Island and,
Right.
and all that stuff. That was huge when I was little. But my point about Disney World is that very last minute, I was on a cruise ship. They asked me to come down about a show, helping out with a show. And so I'm on the internet. You were there the exact same week. This was would have been in February, I think. And I don't know if you saw, but you posted pictures of you at Animal Kingdom.
Right.
And then we mimicked them. Did you see it?
That's funny.
We did the same one where you posing in front of the Tree of Life, and then I was there with a hatchet with the same pose. And then I forget what you went to next. And we were a day off.
We were at Epcot with the dolphins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
posted that, and then we
were eating fish. We went to the dolphin thing that Barry was at. So it was just like a day behind. We kept watching for you. But yeah, that was really funny.
That was my vacation this year.
It was just very strange because I was working on the podcast, and there you were on there. But you travel a lot, and you get to so you're obviously going on the cruises, and you have that coming up this year. Mm-hmm. But we always like to as we wrap up, we always like to let our listeners know things that you enjoy doing with the family here in town. Mm-hmm. And I've run into at Pischetti's. You can't, that giant meatball thing. Mm-hmm. But what if your son's in town or you have time off? What are some of your favorite attractions other than the show here, of course?
Well, I'd say first and foremost is Table Rock Lake. Mm-hmm. I love the lake and just about everything about it. Now, my son will fish. I like to water ski. He likes to wakeboard. We're jumping off the rocks. We like to swim. Period. Yeah. I love to just go out and float. So that's a big part of my summertime. And I have a nice lake boat, open bow lake boat. So I bring friends, and that's really cool. I like to ride. The extreme go-karts, killer. Yeah. I love the extreme go-karts.
I'm doing that this weekend. So.
I will go to Silver Dollar City just to walk around. Just to walk around, enjoy it. And that's both at Christmas time, but also in the summer. And sometimes I'll grab something to eat, sometimes not. Sometimes I will just go to ride one of the roller coasters and leave. That's
right.
It's just
sometimes
because,
I'll run in and eat.
Because I can. I like... hiking, and I've been introduced to something that I didn't. Two things. One is spelunking. That's cave exploration, and
there's a lot of caves around here.
There are a lot of caves around here, and also the kayaking on some of the rivers.
We do that.
Time
yeah.
now. And it's the most beautiful way to see, to kind of journey through the water I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
So those are mostly the activities, kind of outdoorsy stuff and hanging out. And then the show, of course, takes up an enormous amount of time. And I know people think I work 2 hours, 3 times a week.
Trust me.
It doesn't quite work that
10
way.
10 minutes a day. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like how many songs do you sing in that anyway? 12? What?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you probably don't get this, but constantly I get, so what's your other job?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
else
What's
do
your
you
real
do?
job?
Yeah,
So
constantly.
okay, I got a showboat, Branson Bell, ride out, cruise back, and think. But what do you do?
Yeah, I do an hour and a half on stage, and they're like, "So where else do you work?" But yeah.
You, by the way, are very good, a very good host and MC and magician.
Well, I
really
appreciate
enjoyed
that.
your.
You'll have to come back out since
I
you
will.
enjoy the lake so much.
Well, and also Cassandra. I'm anxious to see Cassandra in her show. She's.
We do some comedy bits together in
Do
the
you?
show, yes.
Oh,
It's,
fun.
Aunt Irma. Have you met Aunt Irma?
I have not.
Oh,
I
well, you will have
not.
to come see her.
Okay.
And meet Cassandra's Aunt Irma out there.
One of her alter egos.
Well, I don't know which is the alter ego, to tell you the truth. Because every day with her is improv on stage. She comes out, she doesn't know what I'm going to say to her. I don't know how she's going to respond.
Well, that's
She
fun
throws
for you.
things in. It is fun.
Right? That's
in fact,
fun.
it's so much fun that the rest of the cast will come out and sit there and
Oh, good.
watch it. So that
Well,
we know that
that
people
is a
like it.
testament. That is, and I know it's an all new show too.
It is an all new show, and so but
They
you have
cycle
the
them every
show-
like 6-7 years.
every 20 years.
Every
Try
20
to-
years they train. Something new.
No, every few years and stuff. We change it every year because
Right.
you have to.
We all do.
Yeah, you have to a little bit.
People,
So,
so you don't,
so you don't go insane.
insane.
Exactly,
Right? Become
but-
a Walking Dead.
Exactly. But mine's all improv, so I'm
Yeah.
kind of making it up as I go along for the most part.
Yeah,
But you're here. Do you do a show every day, just so we can let the people know it?
It's an easy schedule, but it's not every day. It is Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday nights. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday nights.
So what's your other job?
Yeah. Right. Thank you very much. My other job is letting people know that I'm here Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights.
Right.
I'm at the Americana Theater. Now, I got caught in the Branson Shuffle. So I was at RFD with 70s Music Celebration for a year.
that.
Then I'm
you
2
were
years.
at Yakov's too, right? For a while.
Yeah, I don't talk about that as much because this show, people that saw that show expect a Brady show, and
Right.
this is not a Brady show. And I think it's a much stronger show with a lot more diversity because, frankly, with the Brady, you could only do certain things.
Right.
This with the 70s, now I'm talking. This is much more than just music. Even I mean, this is a whole romp through the decade. I use music, but we're doing television theme songs, and we're doing, of course, disco. But we're doing like campfire. I have
that's
a
fun.
scene where my whole band comes down. We unplug. We sit around a little campfire, and I actually bought a little thing that looks like a little campfire, and
that's
we
neat.
come down to the front of the stage, and we do singer-songwriter like James Taylor's and Carole King and John Denver, and songs where we're just unplugged,
Right.
like I actually literally do around Table Rock Lake.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
and we have the whole decade to go through. So, yes, I was at Yakov's with a different show, but we had 70s at RFD and then 2 years over at the Hughes Theater, but always in the daytime. Finally, I feel like I've arrived. Now I'm here Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday nights, 7:30, and it's working out much better. I'm much happier doing it, and I think it's more appropriate.
Well, that's cool. Well, we will put a link to the schedule.
Great.
And get people out here. And I hope you come out to the showboat as well.
I don't know when this airs, but if until May 5th, I've got area appreciation going on.
Well, there you
so
go.
people that live here can
Yeah, it'll
come
be on
for
before that. So
great.
No, that's great. So I'm looking forward to seeing the show. I'm coming this weekend with the kids, with the twins.
Great.
We're going to dress as zombies.
Okay,
just so you know.
Please do and scare everybody.
Well, see, we don't draw attention to it. We just act like it's totally normal. Is what we do.
Here's what I think will surprise you. They're 4, right? So
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess they were not alive during the 70s.
Probably not.
Probably
no.
not.
We are time travelers.
So they're going to know a lot of the music. They will know a lot of the music that's in it because many of these songs are used in kids for soundtracks in the movies, like
right.
Kung Fu Fighting.
Oh, true.
Right?
Yes, I never thought of that.
The Hustle, the Car Wash, things like that. So
and they watch
will know some.
Megamind and all that stuff.
Right
Has
on.
all that music.
So I think they'll have a great time.
Oh, they always have a great time.
Good.
And I had a great time. Thanks for finally talking to us out here.
All right.
And
My pleasure.
I look forward to seeing the show.
You make it sound like I had said no a few times.
No, you never did. It's just that our schedule's been crazy,
Right.
And so we're
Here we
just
are.
happy that you finally got it.
I actually showed up the first time you asked.
Yeah, you did. You did. Very nice to talk with you, and thanks for listening to All Things Branson. This is Christopher James. Bye bye.
Bye bye.